Coming up,
I am very honored to have my art exhibit where previous artists lived and created such a beautiful estate.
these impressive sculptures are here for a limited time in one of SoFlo's most impressive historical sites. This school helps children with all kinds of special needs receive the care they require, and this surgical center uses the latest laser technology to help patients see their best. Hello and welcome to SoFlo Health. I'm Hunter Franke, and there's a little food additive that's been making headlines recently. It's red number 3. Now, red number 3 has been banned from cosmetics for a little over 35 years, and that's because they deemed it unsafe for our skin, but somebody had the bright idea to continue to let us eat it for 35 more years. But why was it banned? So stick with us as we peel back the label on this controversial additive and find out how it may be affecting your health and all the surprising places it's been lurking. But first, watch this. Behind me is Broward Children's Center, a facility for developmentally delayed or disabled infants, children, and young adults. Here, they help them reach their fullest potential thanks to the wonderful people that work here at this wonderful place. Let's go inside and learn more. Now joined by Marge. She's the CEO of Broward Children's Center. Marge, thanks for spending some time with us today.
You're welcome.
What is Broward Children's Center for those that don't know?
Okay, Broward Children's Center is a comprehensive care center for children with disabilities and children who have complex medical problems. Muscular dystrophy, cystic fibrosis, Down syndrome. We take care of all children who have developmental delays.
What outcomes do you reach for
Okay, so
children?
our goal is to maximize every child's potential. No matter what they come to us, our job is to get to know that child and try to maximize anything he can do. If he's not walking, maybe he needs to learn to walk. If he's not talking, he needs to learn to talk. Some of our kids have full life support systems on the back of their wheelchairs. Every child that we have does not stay in bed if they're in residence. They get up every day, they get into their wheelchair, they get a bath, and they go to school.
It sounds like this center has kind of ebbed and flowed with the community and met the needs of the community and grown along with the community.
And we've also just got a grant from Broward County to hire a full-time licensed social worker to deal with our parents and the siblings. Because when you have a child like this, it impacts your whole family.
Certainly, and it sounds like you are becoming a part of their family.
Yes,
when
we
you
do.
This.
Because I think when they come in here, they feel like we understand. We have a psychologist who comes in and he deals with all the psychological problems of all our kids. And it's amazing, if you pay attention to the kids, what you can learn. And gradually, sometimes they're fine.
Right.
And they're able to do a lot, but you just have to meet them where they are.
If people would like to learn more about what you're doing here, or say somebody wants to help.
Okay, well, they can call. And then what we do from that point is assess the situation.
Well, thank you so much for
You're
what
welcome.
you're doing and sitting with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
You got it. Gone are the days of limited options for vision correction. We're here at Correct Vision in Aventura to learn about the 6 different options that they have available to get you seeing your best without the aid of glasses. Let's go inside, meet Dr. Bosom, and learn more. I'm joined by Dr. Bosom once again. Doctor, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
So let's talk about your new facility and office-based care.
We are now able to do your procedure in the office. Basically, it's a comfortable environment. The patients feel great. We have all the modern technology that some of the other facilities don't have.
Yes, and we spoke with one of your patients who recently had this done. Tell me about that cataract surgery.
Okay, so that cataract surgery is called a light adjustable lens. We put the lens in the eye, and then we're able to tweak the results to get the patient the most exact vision that they want. They can see near, they can see intermediate, they can see far.
And that's something that's pretty revolutionary.
This is something that I've been doing for 3 years, but we are the top light adjustable lens practice in all of Florida.
and the surgery went beautifully, and the healing went beautifully, and it kind of gives you a time to reevaluate what is really valuable. I have this beautiful family, and they took old grandma out to dinner. I have 7 magnificent grandchildren, and it was a dim restaurant, a dark restaurant, and they were struggling to read the menu, and I could read it. I was the one who could read it without the magnifiers.
We also spoke to a patient who had the EVO surgery done. What is the EVO?
EVO is the newest version of LASIK without ever touching the cornea. So it's a lens instead of LASIK, and the lens makes you see better in many instances. But we don't always choose EVO over LASIK. We identify the patient, we look at the patient's eyes, and we determine what is best for each individual.
The procedure was so easy. It literally only took 7 minutes for each of my eyes. It's completely life-changing. I wish I could have done it sooner, but I'm just so thankful that I was able to get it done. Wearing contacts every day is more painful than getting the surgery done.
And how does somebody know that it's time to get their eyes looked at for surgery or adjustment?
If they're not seeing what they need to see, if they're unhappy with their vision, if they're putting the reading glasses on and off, if their glasses are changing, they can come and see us and have us fix their eyes.
Great, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Come right back for more about Red number 3 in Broward Children's Center when SoFlo Health returns.
Focusing on you from your team of experts at Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center, South Florida's only National Cancer Institute designated cancer center.
Miami-Dade firefighter Claudine Buzzo had been diagnosed with cancer 3 times over her 23-year career.
April of 2016, I was diagnosed with neuroendocrine tumor on my pancreas.
Last year, doctors discovered 2 types of breast cancer. Dr. Susan Kesmedel, a breast surgical oncologist at Sylvester, who performed the lumpectomy, says studies show firefighters face a higher risk of developing cancer.
And this is related to occupational exposure, so particularly combustible substances creating toxic fumes and gases and particulates.
2025 marks the 10-year anniversary of the Firefighter Cancer Initiative. Researchers here at Sylvester have been working with these first responders to help them better understand their risk while implementing protective measures.
They implemented the green buckets. After a fire, we're going to take the bucket, fill it up with the solution, and we're going to scrub our gear down to get all of those toxins off of our gear.
In addition, firefighters now get regular screenings.
Early detection is truly key and can help reduce the amount of treatment that you need.
Claudine now informs her fellow firefighters about their increased cancer risk.
I realized I had a pathway to bring awareness to our firefighters.
Welcome back to SoFlo Health. I'm Hunter Franke. Red number 3 has been making headlines, and we're here to talk about it. It's been hiding in some places you may not expect, and we'll start with these 3: maraschino cherries, cake mixes, and popular children's cereals. Now, the maraschino cherries, probably not a surprise. Most things aren't that red in the wild. But children's cereals? Come on, guys. What are we doing over there at the FDA? But don't worry, we do have some healthier alternatives. For example, opt for naturally preserved maraschino cherries that are way tastier anyway. As for children's cereals, or just cereals in general, you don't have to be a child to have cereal. You can look for brands like 7 Sundays or 3 Wishes that use vegetable and fruit juices as their natural food dyes. Now, watch this. We're now joined by Shannon. She's an occupational therapist here at Broward Children's Center. Shannon, thanks for sitting down with us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course. Where are we right now?
We're at Broward Children's Center. We're in the therapy room.
And I'm assuming therapy happens here.
Yes, that's correct.
What does that entail?
So we work with special needs children who typically, the majority of them can't even walk. So a lot of the time we are addressing skills such as crawling, rolling over, what typically you would need to work on first before you can expect them to walk or maybe do other skills such as feed themselves and have success in school, so like writing. So that's a lot of what our treatments look like.
I hear you have some special equipment here, and some of it which is behind us that helps you do your job and get a better outcome for your patients. What is that?
So behind us is the universal exercise unit, and it uses a pulley system, and it helps to target muscle strengthening as well as range of motion. So maybe the child can't stand on their own, so we could help them stand and then do different activities in standing. We don't have to worry about the child falling and getting hurt, or we don't have to worry about maybe like hurting our back because we're like putting a lot of strain on ourselves doing those different intervention treatments.
For parents that are nervous about leaving their child here, what does every day look like for you, and what's the energy like here?
We try to make sure that's very play-based and just very fun, like interactive, and make it what they're interested in. For instance, maybe they're interested in dinosaurs, so we incorporate that into the treatment session. Or they really love letters, so we're gonna make sure that we throw in a bunch of letters into whatever we're doing. So I would say...
It's good vibes here?
I would say, yes, I love my team.
Maria has cerebral palsy, and she also has epilepsy, and she is quadriplegic. All her limbs don't work like a typical child. She's actually starting to take steps because of the hard work of her therapists and teachers. And the teacher noticed that she's faster with her head. Every time she would ask her a question, she would say yes or no, and now she has a device that she can control with her head. This is the kind of place that make those things possible for kids like my daughter, like Maria.
What is special to you about what you're doing here?
We really get to build rapport with them, get to know our students, and we also get to, even if we're not treating them anymore, like years later down the line, we can catch up with the parents and see what they've been up to. So maybe they finally started walking or they got a job. So it's really nice to see that we're a part of their lives and help them reach their full potential.
Shannon, thank you so much for your time. It feels like everybody here has such a great energy. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You got it. This is Dr. Vulcano. Doctor, thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. You've got a foot in your hands here. Tell us, what are we talking about today?
So today we're going to be talking about a bunion deformity. What that means is that this bone, called the first metatarsal, instead of being nice and straight, over time can start to swing inside. And as it swings, it creates this painful bump and prominence that can be uncomfortable, especially in tighter shoes.
And what can people do about it?
You have a conservative approach, or rather a non-operative approach. You can use a toe spacer that keeps the toe straight, a bunion sleeve. It's a silicone sleeve that you can apply over the bony prominence to pad the area. And of course, you can use wider toe box shoes. Otherwise, you have a surgical approach to correct the deformity.
And once the surgery takes place, is that a permanent fix?
Yes. Overall, it's a fairly successful procedure with a relatively low recurrence rate.
And what does the procedure look like from the patient's perspective? What should they expect if they're looking to do this?
Currently, there are about 200 different types of bunion surgeries. The one I specialize in is a minimally invasive surgery, which I pioneered in the United States in 2017, where through little tiny keyhole incisions, we cut the bones and we realign them straight.
What would you say to the person who is in a lot of pain because of their bunion, but they're like, surgery sounds like a lot, I don't want to deal with it?
With the minimally invasive surgery, I really have a lot of patients that say, you know what, had I known it would have been like this, I would have probably done it years ago. I have other patients who many years ago had one side operated on with a traditional surgery, and now they just can't tolerate the pain on the other foot, which they put off for years, if not decades. And when they do the minimally invasive surgery, saying, oh my God, this is night and day compared to what I had done in the past.
Great. Well, if people would like to learn more, how can they?
They can either visit our institutional website or give us a call, make an appointment.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. Check out these beautiful sculptures at a local outdoor museum with us after the break on SoFlo Health. It's time to pay the Pied Piper here at SoFlo Health. The FDA has banned red number 3 from food after being banned from cosmetics already for 35 years. Welcome back to SoFlo Health. I'm Hunter Franke, but at least all we had to do was worry about the food, right? Wrong. It's also found in pain medicine, vitamins, chewables, cough drops, you name it, it's everywhere. So what is one to do if it's in everything? Well, there are natural alternatives and dye-free versions of all of the aforementioned goods. Funny enough, Target, a brand that is in red, has a lot of dye-free versions available, so you can fill your medicine cabinet with medicine without the dye. This is Bonnet House Museum and Gardens, where we've been many times before. It's one of our favorite places in South Florida, and we've come back to feature Forest Forms, an exhibition by Hualani May that has visited Bonnet House and will be here for a limited period of time. We're getting a behind-the-scenes look today. This is actually a fox next to me that's being put together. This will be the body, this is the head. But let's go meet Hualani and see some of the fox pups and how this all came to be. So Hualani, tell me, what are we looking at? What's with us?
Today we're looking at the fox pups. They're 3 of 18 sculptures that are part of the outdoor exhibit Forest Forms. So this is a set of 5 foxes out of the exhibit, and these are the children.
Yes.
So they're playing and they're attacking their sibling.
Very good. And believe it or not, these are the small foxes.
Yes.
So what is the difference between these foxes and the other 2?
The other 2 are 14 feet tall. So, and then they also have to break apart for traveling, so they all are modular. So I'm having them brought to the location, and when they're placed, I'll go build the pieces together.
So tell me about them. What is it made out of? How did you make it? What are you thinking about when you're making these?
So they're made out of steel pipes, and I weld everything together, and I also do blacksmithing and forging. I originally designed these and was going to hand roll the pipe out and realized that wasn't possible. So I had to get a machine that would help me roll and bend these pipes that are similar to this right here, and then I'll measure it, and then that's how I get all my lines and my angles.
And where does your inspiration come from? Is it always animals?
I love nature and wildlife, so I mainly base my sculptures off animals and flowers.
That sounds like a perfect fit for Bonnet House, because Frederick and Evelyn Bartlett were always assimilating nature with their property in their art. Has that been something you've noticed since being here?
Oh yes, I am very honored to have my art exhibit where previous artists lived and created such a beautiful estate.
I'm excited to see some of the bigger work you have, so what do you say we take a journey over to that?
Sounds perfect.
Let's do it.
Okay,
You'll have
great.
to follow us. Now we've made it over to your largest sculpture for here?
Yes, this is the Flower Power Tower. It's 20 feet tall.
Wow.
And the whole sculpture itself is over 1,000 pounds. And, and then the cement slab is just under 4,000 pounds.
Wow.
Yes.
And something you mentioned to me on our way over here was that you make things so that they're safe and storm ready?
Yes, I really wanted to fabricate the pieces so that they could last forever and be able to be displayed in beautiful venues like this.
Thanks so much for sharing your art with us.
Thank you.
We're gonna go talk to Patrick now to find out what they think
Perfect.
about having it here at Bonnet House.
Well, great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
The history of Bonnet House really is tied to art. The Bartletts, who were the original owners of Bonnet House, were both artists. They were collectors of art as well. So we're thrilled to be debuting our first ever outdoor sculpture exhibit here at Bonnet House. It's called Forest Forms by Hualani May out of Atlanta. And our hope is it'll give locals and tourists a reason to come to Bonnet House. It's going to be up through the middle of April of 2025.
Today, we're joined by Dr. Hepburn. He is the superintendent of Broward County Schools, somewhere I am actually an alumni of. So I'm happy to be here today and find out more about what you have going on at BCPS. So, Dr. Hepburn, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Dr. Hepburn, what are some of the programs that you have available to prepare students to go to college or be in the workforce?
Yes, we have a variety of programs to meet student needs. From medical all the way to STEM and engineering, our students have an opportunity to be enrolled in dual enrollment courses, ACE, AP, IB. In a nutshell, that means our students have tons of opportunities to engage in college level courses at the high school level and high school courses at the middle school level.
And what sets BCPS apart from other educational institutions aiming to do the same thing?
What sets us apart is that we have amazing faculty and staff at all of our schools. We offer many college level courses at our high schools and many high school courses at our middle schools. Many of our high school students have the opportunity to earn college credit while in high school. We partner with a lot of nonprofit, for-profit, universities, and colleges to ensure that we can provide the best learning opportunities possible to our students.
How are you preparing students not just for college, but the future in general?
At BCPS, we have 3 of the best technical colleges in the state where we're preparing students for high-paying careers. We work with many industry partners just to make sure we are meeting the needs of our industry in the county. Many of our students are eligible for scholarships and grants to pay for their technical college tuition, and you can learn more online about our offerings and how you can enroll in our schools.
Excellent. Dr. Hepburn, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
You got it. When we come back, the worst offender for red number 3, and if you're a parent, you'll want to hear this. Welcome back to SoFlo Health. I'm Hunter Franke, and we've been talking about all the places that the now banned red dye number 3 has been lurking. And before the break, I told you that we would share the worst offender of carrying red dye number 3. Sadly, it is children's cough syrups. We rely on these products to protect our little ones, and yet they have this potentially harmful dye in them. It's even more concerning when you consider the long-term health exposures, so it's best to move over to those undyed versions now that we mentioned earlier. And you may be asking, well, okay, so they move away from red dye 3, they'll probably replace it with red dye 40. What then? Well, red dye 40 has been under the microscope recently as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if we're back here for this chat talking about red dye 40 being a problem. But if you start making some adjustments now, you won't have to worry about it. This continues with our long-standing advice here on SoFlo Health to know what's going into your body before you consume it, and the best way to do that with food products is to turn over the label and read what's in it. Or, of course, just continue eating whole foods. So that's it for red number 3, and this concludes this week's episode of SoFlo Health. Thank you so much for watching. We hope that you enjoyed, learned something, and that you're avoiding red 3 like the FDA. That's all for this week's episode of SoFlo Health. Thank you so much for watching. As always, you can catch previous episodes on SoFloShows.com. You can also follow us using @SoFloHealth to share with us what you're doing to stay healthy. Until next week, it's goodbye and good health.